we are now on our lesson 7, no, the sensory mechanism. So, of course, it will deal with the different types of sensory receptors, ano pa ba? The structure no, of the ear, with its, of course, with its function, the human eye, and of course, we're gonna be comparing the smell and other and how they are.
All warm objects constantly emit heat in the form of infrared radiation. The camera senses this infrared in amazing detail. It means Michael can record the snake's movement in total darkness.
This camera is really useful for us here tonight because it allows us to see basically what the snake is seeing. We are looking through a snake's eyes when we use this infrared sensitive camera.
The goal of this experiment is to see whether the snake can sense a warm object in the pitch black. The target is a black balloon filled with warm water. To the snake, it should look like a warm-blooded mouse or a small rat.
We'll have that balloon swinging back and forth like a pendulum. The balloon is black, the background is black. We'll actually turn the lights out for you here. So there's no visual contrast. The idea is that there should be no way to see that balloon. The only difference between the balloon and the background should be thermal contrast. The balloon is warm, the background is relatively cool.
Handling a large python in the day requires great care. It's even more difficult in the dark. Michael covers the snake with a box until he's ready to start the experiment.
These snakes have lots of teeth, so if they bite you, you know it.
But for Michael, it's worth the risk. If the experiment works, the footage will be a world first.
So after the lights are off, we'll remove the box from the snake. The snake will be free, and hopefully we'll see some very interesting behavior. We'll learn something new about this amazing, unusual sensory system.
In the pitch black of the swamp at night, conventional vision is useless.
It's really dark. I can barely see to get this box off the snake. I'm afraid I might look like a warm balloon to this snake. We'll uncover the snake. It's a good thing we have this infrared camera. Otherwise, I'd have no idea where the snake is.
The sensitive infrared camera picks up the faint heat of the snake as a vivid orange, and the warm balloon as a bright white.
Here he comes. Tongue flicking at it, moving his head with it. He definitely sees it. He definitely sees it. He's got eyes, but it is pitch black dark out here. So something else is telling him that that balloon is there. It is absolutely dark. It cannot be using its eyes, but it's following the motion of that balloon. It knows that balloon is there.
Okay, so of course, with that, no, I don't know if you already know, but snakes see differently from other animals. No. Okay, so they use pit organs, which of course detect infrared radiation emitted by other animals. That is why when we see a snake, no, so eventually, kahit during night, no, they can still see us, of course, just by our body heat, no, parang ganon. Next. So the radiation warms the membrane of the pit organ. So they use pit organ, no? So as what you can see, so ito dito na wait lang. No, so dito na part no ng kanilang structure, no? Dito makita ang pit organs, no? So nakalagay diyan heat sensitive membrane. So kumbaga, they detect their prey through the temperature na around them. So, yun. So, merong overlapping na zone. And this part right here, na nakita nyo itong mga arrows. So, this is eventually still a part no, ng kanilang, anong tawag dyan? Ng kanilang characteristics not to find. Okay? Next. Okay, ano yan? Pit organs have somatosensory receptors which, of course, deal with temperature as well as pain. No? Makasense siya ng temperature, pain, as well as the touch. The prey of snakes can be like even at a distance of 1 meter. Okay, so yan siya. So kahit nasa 1 meter pa tayo, no? So they can still sense us, no, as long as we are near sa kanila. Okay? So of course, sensing different stimuli na allows animals to exchange materials with the environment, no, to keep the different organ systems working. So just like us, now we are undergoing inside us right now homeostasis, not to have a stable inside environment of our body. Different sense organs are of course used to detect the different types of stimuli. So hindi lahat ng kumbaga hindi lahat ng parts ng body natin are using kumbaga are experiencing same stimuli. Now we are experiencing different stimuli. Each sense organ has a receptor specific for its function. So in the next slide, I will be somehow discussing regarding the sensory receptors that is present in our body. Eyes, of course, has this detection, for light detection, I mean. And of course, we have ears, for sound and balance, tongue for taste, nose for odor. Okay, next. So, sensory receptors. Now, our senses detect the different stimuli present in our environment. So, of course, again, this is facilitated by sensory receptors, which are sensitive to the different conditions of the external and internal environment, depending on the sensory receptors of how our body will react. So, the conditions detected by the sensory receptors induce action potential. So, as what you can remember, if there is an action potential, there will be an action na mangyayari. In the receptor cell, which conveys the signals to the central nervous system, after the central nervous system, to the brain, from the brain to the central nervous system, to the nerves, other nerves ng ating body, to the mga motor cells natin. Next, combination of sensory receptors. So, different combinations of sensory receptors enable us to make sense of the various stimuli from our environment. These sensory receptors can be classified as number 1, pain receptor, 2, so I'll be discussing this, mechanoreceptors, which sense touch and pressure, chemoreceptors, as well as electromagnetic receptors. Okay, so the first one is the pain receptor. So of course, from the word pain, so we can actually think it is making our body somewhat uncomfortable. Okay, so detect abnormally high heat, pressure, or chemicals from injured tissues which are found to be most concentrated in the skin. So sometimes, or most of the time, ang una talagang na-hurt is, like all the time, is ang ating skin. Whenever we touch a hot surface, our body will react by removing our specific body parts, to avoid that specific heat. These stimuli are usually associated with injury or diseases. That is, animals that feel pain will get away from its source. So that's, diba? Maliban lang kung manhid tayo, we're gonna stay to whatever is hurting us. Next, thermoreceptors, so receptors which detect heat and cold. Of course, they are called the thermoreceptors. Are found underneath the skin pa rin, and deep in the body. Okay, so based dito na sa ating yung mga receptors natin, no? So here, so may dito sa ating nerve endings, no? Diyan sila makikita, and we also have dito sa B, no? The another nerve ending. Okay, so I guess ito yung sa ating thumb. Okay, and letter C naman, we have our sensory cell, no, which of course works, no, as a receptor of other parts of our body. And yan, another receptor cell here. And of course, it will always, no, connect to a cell body or the sensory ganglion, okay, to process that specific information or to deliver that to our central nervous system. So the blood temperature is monitored by the latter receptor. Okay, these receptors help the hypothalamus in maintaining a bird and mammal's body temperature within an optimal range. So it still talks about homeostasis. So it's very important in our body. Next, mechanoreceptors, different types of mechanical energy such as touch. I'm sorry for that. Pressure, bending, movement, and as well as sound are detected by various kinds of mechanoreceptors. So these stimuli result in a change in shape of the plasma membrane of the receptor cell. So this change results in an action potential generation by the receptor cell, converting the mechanical energy into action potential. So, for example, the original shape, no, ng plasma membrane ng receptor cell natin is, for example, circle. Now, because with a certain stimulus outside, no, with a certain kumbaga mechanical movement ba yan, no, outside, no, sa ating body. So there is a possibility that it will change shape, and that would indicate kumbaga changing shape, no, would trigger, no, an action potential that will of course enable, no, the movement to happen. So just like sa ating blood pressure, no, so depending on the what do you call this, the stimulus, no, na nakita. For example, we won a lottery, no, so eventually the the pressure of our blood will increase, no, since we are having a pressure na na-experience natin because of happiness, ganyan. So eventually, there will be a change, no, in the blood pressure flow. Okay, so that's one example of the mechanoreceptors. Next is chemoreceptors. So chemicals inside and outside the body are detected by chemoreceptors. This type of receptors are found in the human nose and taste buds, which are sensitive to the chemicals outside the body. So some receptors found inside the body sense the change in the oxygen level in the blood. Okay, so if our oxygen that is flowing papunta sa ating heart, papasok sa ating heart and pupunta sa ating lungs. So our lungs will eventually, if this is the case, if the oxygen level is low, no, so eventually the lungs will provide more oxygen, will bind more oxygen to the red blood cells. So the antenna, for example, of insects are rich in sensory hairs, okay, which detect chemicals in the environment. That is why they are always searching, no, for food. And I'm not sure lang, but based on my observation, sometimes mga curiosity natin, whenever yeah, siguro, I guess gamit nila yung antenna nila, or they just go back sa kanilang place. But if there is one ant na alam niyang may food dyan, so eventually, parang tatawagin niya yung tropa niya, no, to go to that place, no, kasi merong food. Now, when it comes to chemicals naman, so it's either beneficial or not sa kanila. So, that will, kumbaga, tell, no, kung ano yung gagawin nila. Next, electromagnetic receptors. Of course, it deals with electricity, magnetism, and different wavelengths of light. No? So, yon. So, the eyes of different animals use photoreceptors not to detect light energy using similar pigments. So hence, no, these animals may have arisen from the common ancestor. So, nandyan yung example ng electromagnetic receptor. No? The best example is the migration. Okay, so we have sea turtles, whales, no, in the picture, salmon, and few other animals, no, use actually magnetic cues, no, to navigate during long distance migration. So because of this electromagnetic receptor, they know where to go, no, from left by and or right, no, following magnetic cues, no, or the currents, no, na meron, for example, in the ocean. In the case of sea turtle, magnetic map information can be used either pwede na mag-guide sa kanila or mag-guide, no, to a particular area or to help it assess its approximate location, no, parang ganun. Kumbaga alam nila kung saan sila sa part ng Earth, parang ganun. Of course, along the transoceanic migratory route. Okay, next is, let's discuss, no, so those are the receptors, no, that we have in our body, and those are the examples as well, no, na kumbaga indicated sa kanila. Next is the skin. So of course, skin is sensitive to different stimuli because it contains several sensory receptors. So kanina, mostly, no, ano talaga, like, una talagang makaka-feel, no, ng ng mga stimulus, no, ng mga stimuli pala, I'm sorry, is our skin. So the sensory receptors present in our skin are actually pain receptor, thermoreceptors, and mechanoreceptors. So ito yung mga associated sa skin natin, no, that of course that will deal with different stimulus na meron outside ng ating body. So these act as both sensory neuron and receptor cell, no, yung ating mga sensory receptors. This is possible because these receptors are actually dendrite of a neuron which have undergone modification. So the receptors, after sensing the stimuli, kumbaga direct yung kanyang pag-send ng action potential to the central nervous system. Unlike most sensory receptors in the skin, which are surrounded by soft tissues, the pain and touch receptors are naked dendrites. So of course, as what you can see, no, on the picture, no, our skin has two layers, no, the epidermis and the dermis. So of course, the epidermis, I guess that's brown or purple. I don't know. Hindi ako masyadong ano sa time. Epidermis is the outermost layer composed of several layers of epithelial cells. Okay, so the next slide, no. So the cell division of the bottom layer replaces the cells on the top layer that gets abraded or damaged every 2 weeks. So that's a trivia, no. So our skin cells, kumbaga, is replaced, no, like every 2 weeks. And kumbaga the lower, no, the bottom layer, sila yung like doon man gina-generate ang new cells. So sila yung magiging kumbaga sila yung magre-replace, no, sa outer damaged layer ng ating skin. So the epidermis or the spaces between cells are filled with keratin and glycolipid. The keratin and thickened plasma membranes of the cell found on our skin, no, protect the skin against abrasion or penetration. Okay. So, dead keratinocyte. So, ito sila. So, this is still okay. So, again, its purpose, no, is to prevent, no, abrasion and penetration. Ang glycolipid naman, of course, it can be seen, no, just between the cells, no. So, it provides waterproofing, okay. So, of course, both materials contribute to prevent dehydration and act as barrier against pathogen. Keep in mind that this layer of the skin is completely dead, okay? So, the dermis is a strong, flexible, connective tissue layer, which is the next layer. So, dermis contains connective tissues, muscles, nerves, hair follicles, oil, sweat glands, sensory receptors, and blood vessels. So, marami masyadong nakita dito. Okay? So, the sensory receptors detect different stimuli in environment like temperature. So, beneath the dermis is the hypodermis, okay, a layer of fat which also aid, no, in insulation. So, I guess, wala akong arrow. So, the hypodermis, no, which is located here, okay, yan, yung parang mga yellow, no, parang mga fats sila. So, makita yan siya sa bottom layer ng skin ng ating body. It has many important functions, including storing energy, connecting the dermis layer of your skin to your muscles and bones, ano pa ba? Insulating your body, as well as protecting your body from the different harm or pathogens na meron outside. So, of course, as we age, our hypodermis, magde-decrease yan siya, no, in size, and yun na yung mag-start na magsag yung ating skin. Okay, so yun nga, when we old, the regeneration of our cells will somehow a lesson, no, as we age. That is why merong sagging na nangyayari. Kaya yung iba, there are some individuals, no, they are into science, no, to somehow take more vitamins, ganyan, to regenerate more the cells, no, even though they age. So the ear, no, the ear is divided into three regions. We have the outer ear, middle ear, as well as the inner ear. So the outer ear, wait lang. The outer ear, no, which is, of course, on this part, right here. Okay. Of course, ito yung gina-refer natin, no, as our ear talaga, without somehow considering what is inside. No? It is made up of pinna, no, the pinna, and the auditory canal or the ear canal. No? The ear canal wherein this is the region where we get the waxes, no, produced by our ear. So its function is to trap sound waves and somehow direct them to the eardrum, which is, of course, part naman ng ating middle ear. So, middle ear naman natin, no, from the word middle, is dito naman na part. So, the vibrations na produced by the eardrum are intensified in three bones. So, the first one, we have malleus. No? So, this part right here. The second one is the anvil, no, or the incus. And the third one is the stapes, no, or the stirrup. Okay? So, these three parts, no, or three bones, no, of our eardrum, no, are passed on to the cochlea. So cochlea, no, is one of the canals filled with fluid in the inner ear. Okay, so this part right here. So actually this has fluid inside, no. It contains several other canals, one of which is made up of hair cells that act as sensory cell. So the sensory cells create synapses, which, of course, these sensory neurons convey signal to the brain through the auditory nerve naman natin. So this is, kumbaga, the connection of our ear, no, to the to our brain, no. So this is the auditory nerve. So next, so the semicircular canals. Okay, so as what you can see here, parang pretzel siya. Okay, this is of course its function, or kumbaga, it can be seen, no, inside our inner ear talaga siya, as what you can see in the picture. And of course, it can detect head movement and position. Somehow, this is the reason why we can balance ourselves, no? Kasi through this canal, no, we can detect if we're tilting our head, or we are bowing our head, or whatever movement, no, sa ating head. So this is accomplished daw by the protruding hair of hair cells soaked, no, in fluid. So inside it, actually I have a video, no, on the next slide. Inside it, no, it are the hair cells, which serve as a nerve endings, no, that detects the movement of the head through the liquid inside. When the head moves, the fluid inside the canals also move with the hair. So equilibrium receptors send signal to the brain, wherein we can interpret na, oh, the head is tilting. It's because the liquid, no, is moving towards a specific direction. The brain then responds by sending signals to the skeletal muscles for the appropriate response. So through this, our hands, our feet, no, are able to adjust, no, for us to keep ourselves in balance. Kasi without these semicircular canals, imagine we're tilting our head down and down and down, but then there will be no reaction, no, towards the rest of our body if we don't have these semicircular canals. So here I have a video.
Deep within each ear, there is a balance system called a labyrinth composed of three semicircular canals. These semicircular canals are also connected to the cochlea, which is the organ that allows for hearing. Each semicircular canal is responsible for sensing a particular head direction. Each semicircular canal is filled with fluid, and when displacement of the fluid occurs within the canal, nerve signals are sent to the brain to inform which direction the head just turned. The posterior semicircular canal shown here detects when the head tilts down towards the shoulder. The superior semicircular canal detects when the head nods up and down in a yes motion. The lateral semicircular canal detects when the head shakes side to side in a no motion. When a person is dizzy, one of the main tests performed to determine whether the inner ear is the source of the dizziness is the Dixon Hall maneuver shown here. The head is turned 45 degrees and the body laid back such that the head is extended about 20 to 30 degrees. If the right inner ear is causing a person's dizziness, eye twitching called nystagmus will occur, a condition called BPPV. Depending on how the eye twitches, specific body maneuvers can be performed to potentially cure a patient of their dizziness.
Okay, so that is the video now for the semicircular canals. So of course, the posterior part of this canal is when the head is tilted to the shoulder, both sides. So like enjoying a music, no? So of course, our body is going to react, no, the rest of the part of their body. So the kumbaga auditory nerve, no, will send signal to the brain that we are doing the tilting of the head, no, for the rest of the body to prepare. Next, superior semicircular canal naman, head is nodding up and down, diba? As what have the narrator, no, on the video said. It's like saying yes, diba? When we say yes, no, we do it not together with nodding, okay? So, and for the lateral semicircular canals naman, so head shakes side to side like saying no daw according to the video. So at the end of the video, it has also been shown, no, the what do you call this, the test not to do it, to check if the reason for dizziness daw is baka yung semicircular canals natin. Minsan, the other reasons are the eyes, ano pa ba? Yeah, the brain problems, ganyan, brain headache, no? The headache. And the other one is through or because of the semicircular canals. So if you have a difficulty in doing the tilting, the nodding, and the shaking of your head from side to side, so there's a possibility that you have a condition which regards to your semicircular canals. I know. So, ear discharge, also known as otorrhea, okay, so let's talk about that, is any fluid that comes from the ear. So sometimes, diba, mapansin natin na there is some fluid na lumalabas sa atin. Most of the time, your ears discharge earwax, no? So earwax is different with otorrhea, okay? This is an oil that your body naturally produces. The job of the earwax is to make sure that dust, bacteria, and other foreign bodies don't get into your ear, no? So that's the, kumbaga, it is natural. It is not, anong tawag dito? Unhygienic, no? Kumbaga, if we have earwax in our ear, no, it's because our body naturally produce it. But of course, if marami na masyado, so we then have to remove it, no, from our ear, okay? Next is the eyes. Okay, so animals may differ, no, in the mechanism used to detect light, just like the snakes, no, just a while ago. But everyone uses photoreceptors, no. These receptors somehow detect light. These receptors are pigments which absorb light. Bakit nahiwala yung S? Anyways, the same receptors are found in the organs used by invertebrates, no, to of course to capture light. So example are the flatworms, no, like planarians, no, have a simple eye cup which cannot form images but can sense light. So normally wala talaga silang nakikitang like ganyan yung shape, circle yan, square, ganyan. They just sense light, no. So yeah, napaka-boring. Charot. Okay, so yan. So meron silang innervation. This one is the innervation of the brain. So ito yung nakikita nila, ha. This is, kumbaga, the capacity of their, and they have this pigment, no, pigment cell, okay, which is this one right here. And this is the photoreceptor neuron, which the only purpose is just to sense light, nothing more. No, they cannot form images. Next, most invertebrates naman have evolved compound eyes and single lens eyes, which can form images. Again, compound eyes and single lens eyes. Unahin natin si compound. Compound eyes are made up of thousands of photoreceptors called ommatidia. Okay? Such eyes, used by insects, can sense movement to detect predators and spot flowers rich in nectar through ultraviolet light or color vision. Okay, so compound eyes now has the ability not to detect color vision. No? So example nga is, I'm not sure, parang, ano ba ito? Parang langaw ba yan? No? Or I'm not sure with a specific insect, but it's an insect. Okay? Next, most invertebrates Ayan. Next is the single lens eyes are found in invertebrates such as squids, no? Of course, humans as well. No? But these have evolved independently from the invertebrates. So, ito yung single lens eye ng human. Okay? So, of course, light will enter, no? Through the pupil. Okay? So, the iris, no? Which is this one. It will control the amount of light that passes through the lens, which concentrates light into the retina. Okay, so our retina is right here. So from the iris, no, it will concentrate. Kumbaga, the concentration of light, no, will be manifested, no, here sa retina. The photoreceptors found in the retina, so meron tayong mga photoreceptors dito, okay, which are mostly found in the fovea, okay, so dito sila usually makikita, convert light into action potential, no, whatever enters our pupil, papunta sa ng iris, it will be interpreted, no, ng mga different photoreceptors natin, no, that will convert it into action potentials, which are then conveyed through the sensory neurons. Okay, so meron tayong optic nerve, no, in the optic nerve towards the brain. So after optic nerve, it will be delivered to the brain, specifically in the occipital lobe. Okay, so lahat ng sinabi ko is nasa next slide. Next, the optic nerve. Ano nangyari dito sa red na ito? But anyways, the optic nerve joins up with the eye in the middle of the retina, causing a blind spot. So, humans have a blind spot actually. It is found where the optic nerve exits in the eye. So here, no, dito yung blind spot. However, the overlapping fields of view of them of the eyes enable humans to see images in the continuous manner. So, hindi naman siya naka-affect talaga sa ating, parang, wala naman talaga siyang gap, no? Though we have our blind spot, it's because our, kumbaga, images that we see around, no? Like right now, you can roll your eyes or wherever you are right now. Kumbaga, our brain finds it a way, no, for us to continuously see, you know, even though we have our eye blind spot. It's like plugging a TV's power LED into the screen, which means you get no picture in that area. However, the brain is able to compensate and fill in the gap. Now, that's how amazing our brain is. Next, a connective tissue called sclera, no? Of course, covers our eyes, no? So this blue one right here, so yan, sclera ang tawag dyan, okay? In the middle of the eye, the sclera changes into cornea, okay? So cornea ang tawag, no, sa middle ng eye, which is transparent in order to allow the entry of light and aids in focusing it. Okay, maliban sa iris, now we have first our cornea, which aids in focusing of light. Beneath the sclera, okay, beneath daw ng sclera, okay, is the choroid. Okay, so ito choroid ito, no? After that is retina na. That is full of pigments which become the iris in the front of the eye. So, magiging iris na siya dito sa front ng eye. Okay? It is, of course, responsible for eye color. Okay? So, furthermore, two channels filled with fluid are present in the eye divided by the lens. So, at the back of the lens, okay, is the bigger chamber called the vitreous humor. Okay, so ito siya, vitreous humor. This part right here, now we call it the vitreous humor. Okay. And in front of the smaller chamber, now we have what we call the aqueous humor. Now, so this part right here. Okay. So both humor are responsible for the eye shape, but aqueous humor has circulatory function. So ito merong circulatory function. Ito naman is responsible for the eye shape that makes it circle or whatever shape it is. So lahat ng sinabi ko nasa next slide. And we also have what we call the conjunctiva. Okay. So conjunctiva is just, makikita siya dito na part ng eye natin. Okay. So, a mucous membrane of the surface of the eye, lining the back of the eyelid and the white of the eye, not to keep them moist. And of course, maliban sa conjunctiva, we also have what we call the tear gland natin. So, ang tear gland natin is, dito siya makikita, which is connected by nerves, or mga vessels that will connect it. That is why meron tayong luha papuntahan dito. Okay, so tear glands also moisten the eye surface and cleanses it with tears which empty into the nasal cavity. Some of it will empty into the nasal cavity and sometimes, like tumutulo talaga siya. Like most of the time ba? Most of the time pala. So how does the eye see objects? Hala, ang see ko, dapat may ipa yan. I'm sorry. This happens all the time na. I'm very sorry. So, let's compare the squid in our eyes. So, the eyes of squids have a hard lens. Hard yung lens niya, okay, which can move back and forth. Okay. Human eye naman is soft. Its shape can be changed when focusing. Okay, especially yung pupil natin. So, ang squid, pag may nakita yun silang something interesting, it will not like change. Like it will just move back and forth. But ang human, yung pupil natin, whenever we see something interesting, so eventually yung pupil natin, nagalaki yan siya to focus. So here, when looking at near objects, the lens become round and thick. Okay, so this is our lens. Magiging round and thick, enabling light from the object to focus. Kasi diba, the more close, nagduling ako. The more closer we see the object, so kumbaga parang mas nagiging blurry siya, right? So what happens inside our eye is it became round and thick, para makapasok yung light, para at least ma-focus natin kung ano yung tinitingnan natin. Baka sira na yung mata ko kasi like hindi pa rin hindi pa siya okay. Next, when the object is far, the lens becomes more flat and thinner. Okay, when focusing on the object. Mas magiging flat ito and thinner para mas makafocus sa object. Kaya minsan iba, napapansin ko din sa sarili ko pag like I want to focus something far, so parang ganyan ko ang mata ko. Something like that. So for me to have a focus on that specific object. Okay? So take note if you have any questions, don't hesitate to like message me later. Anong oras na ba? Anyways, taste and odor. So the nasal cavity is lined with sensory receptors. That's why we can actually smell anything. So, makikita yan sa tip ng ating cilia. When you smell something, the molecules bind to the receptors and trigger action potential. Okay? Again, when we smell something, that specific molecules, syempre pag may na-smell tayo, papasok talaga yan sa ating ilong. And these molecules will bind to the sensory receptors, again, that is located sa cilia, ating nasal cavity. And if ever mag-bind siya with the receptor, it will trigger the action potentials. Of course, it will be sent to the brain for processing and interpretation. It is then that you smell the odor. Pag once mapunta na siya sa brain. So, yon. So, ganun lang kabilis yung pangyayari. So, the taste buds in the tongue are evolved epithelial cells that become sensory cells. Before, they are just epithelial cells, but later they evolve into sensory cells. A taste bud can sense only one of the 5 tastes. Now, so you have sweet, bitter, salty, sour, and umami, or delicious stuff for Japanese. But the region of the tongue can have taste buds for all the five tastes. Hence, the taste map is no longer true. Okay? So, hindi na ito totoo. So, the sense of taste and odor are interrelated and not independent from each other. Smell enhances or diminishes the flavor or taste of food. This is easily apparent when you have colds and your sense of taste seems off. Okay, so diba, whenever we are sick, no, so we tend, pero meron palang picture. So we tend to not taste, no, anything that we eat, no, wala tayong ganang kumain kasi nga everything na kinakain natin is walang lasa. Okay, so ganun yung nangyayari. So, yeah, kumbaga both sense of smell and taste natin is somehow connected, and mas mapapatunayan natin yan with your laboratory activity. And since we are having our anong tawag dito, online class, no, so definitely you'll be doing your laboratory activity number 4 next meeting na lang.